Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is my review for the second episode of Season 2 of DC's Stargirl titled Summer School Chapter 2. The description for the episode says, still on the lookout for evil in Blue Valley, Courtney grows suspicious after an unexpected visitor shows up at the Dugan house. Barbara and Pat become concerned after a visit from a mysterious antiques collector, and Cindy puts her plan into motion. Last episode we left off with Courtney facing off against Green Lantern's daughter. So 6 days ago, Jenny, Alan Scott's daughter, was kicked out of a foster home due to her age, and as a goodbye gift, she was given a box containing her brother's toy car and her father's Green Lantern ring. She thought that the ring would lead her to her brother, but instead it took her to Courtney's house to get the lantern. Turns out she's a fan of Stripesy, at least someone is, and she wanted him to train her. Pat and Barbara agreed to let her stay with them, but Courtney was still obsessed with being Stargirl, and she was convinced that Jenny was the villain. Her excuse was that the staff worked for her even though she's not Starman's daughter, so Jenny might not be Alan's daughter. But come on, just look at Rick. The hourglass only worked on him because he was Rex Tyler's son. While Pat trained Jenny, Courtney had to go to summer school, and it's just really convenient that the ISA and JSA kids all just happen to be at summer school. I thought setting the season in the summer was a good idea since they don't have to explain why the kids are never in class. So I was confused why they had Courtney go to summer school, but I guess it's so that they can easily set up the relationships between the teams. The tuba turd was there acting all angsty, and even though she has straight A's, Yolanda's parents signed her up to keep her out of trouble. Another thing about her that I can relate to. Beth was the only one missing because Rick was supposed to beat her, but instead he went off to feed Grundy again. I got my hour night crumbs when Beth called Rick to tell him to meet the team at the garage, where Jenny was finally able to make a construct with the ring, and she made her brother's toy car. How sweet. But Courtney still didn't trust her and made that extremely clear. After a talk with Pat, she admitted that she was so mad at Jenny because she was jealous of her. Jenny was everything that Courtney wished she was throughout season 1. She was actually the daughter of a JSA member, and that made Courtney feel like a fraud. Pat convinced her to try to bond with Jenny over their shared desire to learn more about their fathers, but unfortunately Courtney ruined her apology because she kept saying that unlike her, Jenny has everything and would make the perfect member of the JSA. But Jenny feels like she has nothing. Courtney might not have had her dad growing up, but she had a perfect family that loved her. Jenny grew up in a foster home separated from her brother. She was mad because she thought the ring would lead her to Todd, but instead she ended up here with the lantern. So out of anger, she threw the lantern and broke it. The team rushed to the park while trying to stop the lantern from exploding, and Courtney realized that Jenny might be able to absorb the lantern's energy because she is the lantern. That's why, unlike her dad, she never had to recharge the ring every hour. She was charging it all the time just by wearing it. Honestly, that makes the old JSA seem pretty weak because we know that both Alan Scott and Our Man only had powers for an hour. Next, we're gonna learn that Jay Garrick's Velocity 9 only lasted an hour. Kinda weird that no one in town noticed, but Jenny had her Jennifer Pierce in the ionosphere moment when she absorbed the lantern's light and then blew up, but then her particles rebuilt themselves and now she could fly. That was such a nice looking scene. The CGI looked great. I just wish we could have seen her coming back. Even though Jenny was gone by next morning, she helped Courtney realize that she had to stop only focusing on being Stargirl and appreciate that she has a good life with a family and friends that love her, so she should spend time with them. But of course she picked the worst time to focus on herself because Pat told her that the last member of the ISA, the Shade, was back in town. We first met him in the season 1 finale, and now he showed up at the American Dream asking Barbara for the wizard's magic things, which is where Cindy got the Eclipso crystal at the end of last season. Barbara didn't trust him, so she went Pat, which is totally understandable since last season she became such good friends with Jordan only for him to turn out to be the villain. Pat met up with the Shade and asked for his name, which is how he realized who he was, but he had to run off and help the kids. While the JSA got to know Jenny, we finally got to see Bobby Berman again. With Dragon King dead and Cindy missing, she was finally free and was wrecking their house when unfortunately Cindy came back. I love the opening where girls just wanna have fun. The Berman family keeps getting the best music. Throughout the episode, Eclipso kept taunting Bobby with the fact that she would never return to her own life and convinced her that she had to kill Cindy in order to be free. But when she attacked her, Eclipso took over Cindy's body, and I guess he fed on Bobby's body, which horrified Cindy because she might have hated Bobby, but she never wanted her dead. So just as I predicted, Eclipso has other plans and is just using Cindy, and when he killed Bobby, he said something about humans being weak and easily tempted to sin, which makes me worried for Yolanda because her storyline is about dealing with the fact that she's sent by killing Brainwave. So this could lead him to her. After all, he's the one that killed her in the comics. This does make him an interesting villain, and I'm also interested in Cindy's storyline because I could see it being something about empowerment and becoming her own woman. Just like Bobby, Dragon King was in control of Cindy's life for so long, and now that she was gonna be in control of the new ISA, turns out Eclipso was the one using her again. Even though this was a pretty simple episode just introducing a new character, I still really enjoyed it. I saw some complaints about the lack of action, blaming the move to the CW, but that's not a big change. Last season we had an episode all about Courtney in her house, doubting her place as Stargirl after finding out that Starman wasn't her dad. This show has always had an overlapping story split up into chapters, unlike the other Arrowverse shows, including Batwoman and Superman and Lois, because they have one main story and no filler episodes, but unlike Stargirl, they all feel like separate stories. The only thing that disappointed me was Jenny leaving because I loved her and hoped she would join the team, but hopefully she'll come back later on with Obsidian. He could be useful against the Shade. I don't really care for the Shade storyline right now, but I'm willing to give it a chance because I'm loving the Eclipso storyline. It's giving me the horror aspect that I was excited for, and it's with Cindy, the best character on the show. Although we only got to see Jenny make one construct, I thought that the Green Lantern effects looked great, and it's because of the shading and knowing where to hide any flaws. That's something that the people on The Flash and Supergirl do not understand, and it's something Zack Snyder understood, but I actually preferred how the green light looked here than in Zack Snyder's Justice League. The move to the CW hasn't really affected the show because the crew knows how to work around the budget, like for example not always showing Grundy, instead only having him roar, which the director mentioned in an interview on Stargirl After Show. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Leave your thoughts on the video or episode in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Goodbye.